Hello everyone. In this video, I'm going to cover the current affairs from 21st January to 31st January. So let's begin. Economic Survey 2022. Students recently, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has presented the Economic Survey 21-22 in the Parliament on 31st January. So Economic Survey, we all know that it's an annual document released by the Ministry of Finance, and it is authored by the Chief Economic Advisor. And this document is like a report card of the economy. It documents the state of the economy. It examines and it details out the performance of various sectors of the economy. So the pre-budget economic survey was recently tabled in the Parliament, and it was authored by the newly appointed Chief Economic Advisor V. Ananta Nageshwaran. So students, even though I'm going to conduct or I'm going to make a separate video on economic survey. However, in this video, I'm going to just highlight the most salient points made in the economic survey. So number one, 9.2% growth is expected in real terms in 21-22 students. 9.2% growth. This is in real terms adjusted for inflation. And it said that the GDP would grow 8 to 8.5% in 22-23. So this is very much in alignment with the projections made by IMF and the World Bank for the Indian economy. Next, students, about the pandemic. So government supply side reforms are preparing the economy for sustained long-term expansion and to speed up the economic recovery. Merchandise exports and imports rebound strongly and surpass pre-COVID level, students, right? So as the pandemic sort of, is like sort of easing, and as the US-China trade war also eases, the merchandise exports and imports have rebound strongly. Then students, bank credit accelerates to 9.2% on 31st December 2021. So bank credit is an indicator of the positive consumer sentiment and, the consumer, the corporate confidence, basically. So this has accelerated to 9.2%. Foreign exchange reserves touch US dollar 633.6 billion on 31st December. Then students, coming to IPOs. So last year we saw a huge rise in the number of IPOs. Almost 75 companies, went public, and these were primarily tech startup students, tech startups, which sort of immensely gained from the pandemic. So, and this figure is significantly higher than in any year in the last decade. Then effective supply side management keeps prices of most essential commodities under control. So this is within the, tolerable or the tolerance band. Then agricultural students, the gross value added registers high growth of 3.9% in 21-22. And industry grew by 11.8% and service sector by 8.2%. So this is on the expected lines. The agriculture grew by 3.9%, industry by 11.8%, and service sector by 8.2%. Then India's overall score on the Niti Aayog Sustainable Development Goals India Index, that has improved to 66 in 21 from 16 in 19-20. And economic impact of second wave was much smaller than that during the full lockdown phase in 2021. Though the health impact was more severe. Moving on, students, Government of India appoints Ananta Nageshwaran as the Chief Economic Advisor. So Ananta Nageshwaran is our new Chief Economic Advisor, and this position was lying vacant for very long after, K. Subramaniam had resigned, left the office. So recently, Ananta Nageshwaran has been appointed as the Economic Advisor. So he's the former member of the Prime Minister's Economic Advisory Council. Next, students, India ties up with Israel to convert 150 villages into villages of excellence. So the government of India has joined hands with the government of Israel. We know that, Israel has boasts of very high and advanced technology. So the Indian government has joined hands with the government of Israel to create 150 villages of excellence in 12 states of the country. And the objective is basically to bring technology to the farm sector, students. And obviously, with the end objective to enhance productivity in the farm sector. We know that agricultural sector suffers from its own set of challenges, and the government wants to boost it. And the plan was to double the income of the farmers by 2022, although that got derailed because of the pandemic. But this is like one good push to the farm sector, wherein 150 villages will be converted into villages of excellence. So, to commemorate, I mean, this is going to be done in 2 phases, and to commemorate the 75th year of Indian independence, 75 villages are being taken up in the first year, and the rest of the villages would be taken up later. So some key takeaway students: Israel President Isaac Herzog, capital Jerusalem, Prime Minister Naftali Bennett, and currency Israeli shekel. Next, students, Meta. So Meta, we know that's formerly known as the Facebook. So Facebook has a new name now, Meta, and they have tied up with FICCI to support 5 lakh women-owned, SMBs across India. So small and medium businesses. So social media giant Meta has partnered with industry body, the Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce, FICCI students, to support 5 lakh women-led small businesses across India. And this is basically to provide women with the support and the right ecosystem to grow and flourish as entrepreneurs. And Meta will undertake this initiative under She Means Business program. And this is to empower the greater 50% initiative. Some of the takeaway students: CEO Mark Zuckerberg, headquartered in California, and FICCI president is Sanjeev Mehta. Please keep the name in mind. FICCI was founded in 1927, headquartered in New Delhi, and Secretary General Dilip Chenoy. Next, students, Air India has been formally handed over to Tata Group students. So after almost 69 years, when Tata Group relinquished its stake, to relinquish its control over the airlines to the government, the airlines has been returned to Tata, and the government of India officially handed over India's flag carrier, Air India, to the Tata Group on January 27, 2022. And the total value of the deal is rupees 18,000 crore, students. So we know Air India is debt-laden, and to sort of reverse the fortunes of the company, it has been handed over to Tata Group for better management. And the strategic disinvestment transaction of Air India includes the transfer of 100% stake of Government of India in Air India to Tata Sons, along with management control. And the transaction covers 3 entities, namely Air India Express, and Air India SATS. Next, students, SBI listed the maiden issue of $300 million Formosa bonds on Indian INX. So students, Formosa bonds, they are bonds which are denominated in the currency of Taiwan. And the lender, SBI, is the first Indian entity to raise money through the Formosa bonds. And SBI was also the first issuer whose green bonds were duly listed in the November 2021 on Luxembourg Stock Exchange through an MOU. So what does this show, students? This conveys the kind of confidence the world or the investors, reposes, the kind of confidence they place in Indian growth story. Next, students, Australian Open 2022, Rafael Nadal beats Daniel Medvedev. So Nadal, winning this title, this is his 21st major title, and he has become the first male player to do so. That means he has broken the record for the highest number of Grand Slam title ever won by a male player. And Rafael Nadal has defeated Daniel Medvedev to win the men's single titles at the Australian Open. In women's tennis, Margaret Court has 24 single majors, an all-time record. And in women's category, world number 1, Ashley Barty of Australia defeated Danielle Collins to win women's single final title at the Australian Open. Next, students, Google to invest up to $1 billion in Bharti Airtel. So Bharti Airtel and Google have announced a long-term partnership agreement to accelerate the growth of India's digital ecosystem. Under the deal, Google will invest USD 1 billion in Airtel. So we all know, students, that Google had, launched this India Digitization Fund in 2020, and this was with an objective to digitize the Indian economy, empower small businesses, and provide access to Indians to IT services in their own language. So with this objective, Google had started the Indian Digitization Fund, and Google is not the only company. Other tech conglomerates like Amazon and Facebook have also, committed investment in India's digital growth. So from the total investment, Google will invest USD 700 million to acquire a 1.28% stake in Bharti Airtel. And this is Google's second investment, students, in an Indian telecom service provider. Earlier, Google has also bought a stake in or has also invested in Reliance Jio. Some key takeaway, students. Bharti Airtel CEO Gopal Vittal, please keep the name in mind, remember it. Bharti Airtel founder Sunil Bharti Mittal, and founded in 1995. Google CEO Sundar Pichai, of course, and founded in 1998 in California. Founders Larry Page and Serge Brin. Next, students, a book titled Fearless Governance, authored by Kiran Bedi. So we all know that, Kiran Bedi has had a very successful tenure as an IPS officer, as a civil servant, and she symbolizes fearless governance. So there's this book titled Fearless Governance, which is authored by her, and this has been released, and the book is based on the ground realities of nearly 5 years of service of Dr. Bedi as Lieutenant Governor of Puducherry, and her vast experience of 40 years in the IPS. Next, students, Corruption Perceptions Index 2021. So India ranks 850th. So Transparency International. So please remember the name, students. This is the body that releases this, index annually, and it has ranked India at 85th spot. So the ranking has been topped jointly by 3 countries: Denmark, Finland, and New Zealand. And this ranking basically measures how corrupt each country's public sector is perceived to be. So this is based on the perception, students. This is not how the level of corruption, that actually is prevalent, but this is based on the perception. So the results are going on a scale of 0 to 100, and 180 countries are ranked in it. And, the worldwide CPI rankings seem to be on a standstill, because most countries, the global average remains unchanged for the 10th year in a row at just 43 out of 100 points, students. So the rankings have not changed much, basically. And India was ranked last year at 86th with a score of 40. And this year it has slightly improved its ranking and has climbed up by 1 position, by 1 rank, to be at 85th position. Next, students, Apple retained the title as the world's valuable brand in Brand Finance 2022. So Apple has retained its position as the most valuable brand in 22, according to the Brand Finance 22 Global 500 report. And the brand valuation of Apple was recorded at $355.1 billion in 22, and which is an increase of massive 35% from last year, students. So this is the highest brand value ever recorded in the Brand Finance Global 500 ranking history. If we talk about the Indian companies, so the Indian conglomerate Tata Group has emerged as the most valuable brand, not just in India, but in South Asia. And it is the only brand from the country in the top 100. And its ranking is 78. TikTok has been named the world's fastest growing brand in the list, and its brand value increased from US $18.7 billion in 21 to US $59 billion in 22. And tech, of course, remained the most valuable industry in the list in terms of the sectors. And this was followed by retail, banking, media, telecom, and top 5 respectively. So this is the list of the top 10 brand value, students. So Apple, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, Walmart, Samsung, Facebook, ICBC, Huawei, and Verizon. Next, students, Olympian Neeraj Chopra has been honored with Param Vishisht Seva Medal. So, Olympian Neeraj Chopra will be honored with Param Vishisht Seva Medal. He has been awarded on the eve of the Republic Day by President Ramnath Kovind. And he's the first track and field athlete to win a gold medal for India at the Olympics. And we all know that he's a Subedar in the Indian Army. And he was also conferred with the Arjuna Award in 2018 and VSM in 2020 for his excellence in sports. Next, students, Parakram Divas. So Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose 125th birth anniversary was celebrated, commemorated this year. And the Indian government has decided to celebrate January 23rd as the Parakram Divas to commemorate the birth anniversary of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. And because this year was marked as the 125th birth anniversary. So Netaji was born on January 23rd, 1897, and the day is celebrated to honor and remember Netaji's indomitable spirit and selfless service